let's get into the employment numbers that came out earlier this week.
These were interesting.
These were very interesting.
So these were the ADP or the CPI?
No, these are the CPI.
CPI, Consumer Pricing Index.
Yep.
Hit me. What's the mortgage numbers?
Total non-farm payroll rose by 517,000.
Oh, so jobs went up.
In January. Jobs went up in January.
Huh. What do you think?
By 517,000. That is a large number.
Did you break those numbers out?
Yes, I did. So leisure and hospitality was at 125,000, which was the leading. But that's still a smaller portion of that 517. I'm not too surprised it went up. But the fact of how little of that was from the hospitality and like bar and service industry is surprising to me. That how much growth is from personal and business service sector, and then education and health service sector, and government as well. Those combined for 350,000 between those three sectors.
Say that again.
Between personal and business services grew by 80,000. Government grew by roughly 75,000, and then private education and health services grew by about 112,000.
Interesting.
That's really interesting. Like I can't really figure out. I don't understand where that's coming from, especially the professional and business services. Us being in the mortgage industry are seeing people constantly looking for jobs, trying to find jobs, getting laid off. I mean, I don't even know if you saw yesterday, like Disney just said that they're laying off another 7,000 people because they're automating a lot of things with their streaming service. Companies we had the Amazon layoffs. We had Wells Fargo laid people off. Like people are being mass laid off. We're seeing left and right, yet the job numbers are going up, and it does not make sense to me. And it's surprising everyone. That's why we saw a change in the rates, because they're saying, well, if the job numbers are going to be like this, it might be a little longer before the Fed starts to bring rates back down.
I think that the Fed is going to start bringing rates back down because they've kind of said it, like inflation's coming down. I think inflation is going to continue to come down. Mm-hmm. There's something going on with the job numbers that isn't correct.
I've been saying this. It does not make sense to me.
The numbers are wrong.
And it goes against every expert out there's predictions, thoughts. No one understands. I think they're wrong too. I think we're going to see a correction.
It
has to be.
So there was a correction last month, which is why we saw that big.
There was, and it went down by about half of what, because it went up. They said 216. It was like 96.
So part of the issue I think that they're having is there's a lot of part-time jobs, and they're considering that. I think you have to look at hours worked as well.
Yes.
Are the hours worked going up or down?
We don't have the hours worked, at least not yet.
We need the hours worked, right? And then we can kind of look into that. And then the other piece is if there's like remote positions and things of that cross over state lines, those get double added. So we need to pull these numbers apart. We need a little bit more time, but the mortgage industry is reacting a little bit.
It is.
The interest rates have gone up a little bit.
Right. Yes, they have. I mean, this is the first time since middle of December or early December that they've gone up.
Yeah, they're going to come back.
They will. It's only a matter of time, and the reason they even went up is just because think it might be a little longer. Everyone knows they're coming back down at some point within the next.
We've reached peak inflation.
Right.
Inflation is going to continue to come down. The May 10th numbers are going to be a big deal.
Right, and inflation numbers did come back down. So I mean, they are still.
Well, and then Jerome Powell said that he thinks we're at the end of. He can see the end of the light at the end of the tunnel.
He did. Then he followed that up but we're still going to raise it up another quarter.
Next month.
This was last.
That was last time. This was a new report that they kind of can see like, oh yeah, well it's done. Now, I mean the jobs numbers are weird. Because if you look at manufacturing and like the New York published manufacturing number and all this other New York manufacturing numbers, things that like you look at those numbers and they're recession numbers. Yeah. You look at what's going on in the market, it's recession. You look at the amount of layoffs, it's recession. Are we going to hit a recession? They came out and said, "Oh, I think we could. I think we might avoid a recession on this one." They have. They just recently came out. I have to read the whole article, but that was the headline. The Fed thinks that we can possibly avoid a recession. I think we're in a recession.
We've been in a recession.
They don't. So, the question for everybody is, are we in a recession? I sure think so. I think a lot of other people think so. Ben, do you think so?
Yes.
A lot of the major players, economists and stuff, they think that we're in a recession, but the Fed is saying that, hey, we could possibly avoid a recession. When's the election, 2023 or 2024?
I don't know.
I don't either. I'm just trying to figure out like why we're getting so many mixed signals. I think that's the theme of 2023 so far is mixed signals.
Yeah, I mean, it is, especially with this job report. I mean, like we were saying last time, it was what, $96,000 after the correction, and then 95,000 of that was from hospitality, which makes sense. Service industry, people out there who lost their jobs are trying to find something to pay the bills.
Agreed.
So they're finding part-time jobs that are less wages than what they believe they deserve.
Right.
That isn't fixing the issue. That's just a byproduct of the issue. This one does not make as much sense. I mean, government spending. I mean, they're still spending. That's not surprising, but the professional and business services just makes zero sense to me of why that's gone up.
It has to be wrong. I mean, there's so many people who are getting laid off.
Unless there's some trend now that a lot of people are finding people part time.
1099 maybe.
Right.
Yeah, no, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Interest rates are up, but it's still a good time to buy a home. I believe it's still a good time to get into real estate. I think for first-time home buyers, for investors, this is a perfect time. I just bought another investment property.
Yeah.
So
it definitely is a great time to get in.
We bought 2 this year. So 2 in the last 12 months. It's a great time to get in. It's a great time to build wealth through real estate. It's a great time to have a comprehensive real estate plan. For all my folks out there who I constantly get harassed on TikTok and stuff about, I'm preaching a message that a majority of Americans don't want to hear. The message that I'm preaching is you have to have discipline, you have to have plans, you have to have a goal. If you do not have plans, if you do not have disciplines, and if you do not have goals, you'll never get to where you want to go, right? So I'm saying, hey, we need to purchase. We need to purchase a primary residence first, and then if you want to build real wealth through real estate, you need to have a plan in place, a comprehensive real estate plan. So the message I keep getting pushed back on is 2008, and it's just misinformed people, and some of them might even be bots. And if they aren't bots, like, hey, people, you're acting like a bot, because what you're doing is you're saying a bunch of stuff that is not relevant to what's actually going on. I can show you miles and miles and miles and miles of core logic data showing you this is not 2008. This is not 2008. We will do well in real estate and we'll continue to do well. And even in 2008, guess what? If something bad was to happen, right, like it did in 2008, by 2012, the homes that went down in value were now worth more than they were 2008. So,
right. You know what's probably riskier than real estate?
401k.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Especially
that's backed by securities. And guess what you're doing every month that's withdrawn from your paycheck? You're putting that into 401ks. That is still a risk. That can still go down. Look at the last year. It has gone down for the majority of people. And then compare that to buying homes. Housing prices are still going up. They're going to go up even more so once rates come back down, which we'll see when, but it's going to happen sometime sooner than later. So what's the difference? I mean, like you said, and so this is something I mentioned a couple episodes ago about like 3 out of 5 Americans don't have any sort of budget. You need a financial plan. You need that retirement account. You need that plan in place. And it can be $400 or $500 a month. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It depends on your budget, how you are. But that's something that we are passionate about, is putting that plan together, working with our clients based off of their experience to move them towards that goal.
Right. 100%. And here's the deal. 3 out of 5 Americans don't have a budget. That's stupid.
Yep.
3 out of 5 Americans don't have a budget. That's really stupid. 3 out of 5 Americans don't have a budget. I'm going to say it one more time. That's dumb. You have no idea where your money's going. And I got some criticism about my restaurant comment. Like I said, a family of 4 goes out to eat once a week. People are arguing back, oh, he grew up in rich society, da, da, da. I grew up in Amsterdam, New York. There's nothing rich about it. It's a working class people. There's a lot of lower class people, or lower income people, not lower class, lower income people in Amsterdam, New York. It was one of the highest welfare counties in all of the country, Montgomery County, when I was growing up. A lot of factories left. A lot of people don't have jobs. There's a lot of hopelessness and negativity that comes from that, right? So, no, I didn't grow up, but I watch people and I watch their habits, and we look at bank statements every day, and I would challenge every single person who says, hey, Nick, people don't go out to eat 4 times a month. The average American's not going out to eat 4 times a month. I would say, okay, well, they're spending money on something. And shout out to the person who said that they quit going to buy a pack of cigarettes and gas station snacks every day before work, and they saved $1,200 a month.
Wow.
$1,200 a month. That was on TikTok. Shout out to that person. Thank you for your comment. It was absolutely awesome. But I challenge every person who's watching this, and if you disagree with me, I will bring you on this show live, and I swear I will do this. Print out your bank statement and show me where you're not wasting money or where you can't budget in a little extra savings to eventually buy either a primary residence, and if you have a primary residence, to buy an investment property so that you can start building generational wealth to you and your family. Because, listen, it's the best thing to do. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but it's the best thing to do to build wealth through in America. And if you zoom out, it's gone up over time, right? And I would much rather own property with the amount of debt our country is amassing than I would have it in stock markets. And I just,
well, you said it yourself too. Even think 2008, like how quickly were values back up
like that. And here's the other piece, Ben. We're not telling you not to invest in 401k because I think you need to be diversified.
Exactly.
But we're not financial advisors. We're mortgage advisors. And this show is meant for entertainment. But at the same time, like, you can actually take some advice from this and like apply it to your life and go and do your own research and do your thing.
Correct. Because guess what? Your mortgage advisor is not saying go out and buy investment, because they don't get commission on that. So they're not out there saying, including that in what you should invest in. We're saying, hey, consider this as part of your options for your retirement, for your future, for your family.
We care about you as a person.
We do. And I mean, so exactly like he just said, we're telling you have the 401k as well, diversify, because, and they'll tell you to diversify. They just won't specifically say real estate because they don't get paid on it.
No, they won't. And yeah, you gotta interview everybody you're working with, and figure out who you can trust and who you can't.